Welcome back to the Insiders Podcast. It's another episode here. This is a bit of a special one. It's a bit of a random one as well. My good friend Darren had a chance to speak to a special guest, and this actually was a conversation Darren was having with the guy just as a phone call. Like they kind of know each other. You'll know who I'm talking about in a second. And they were having a chat, and suddenly they were talking more and more about surfing. And Daz just turned around and said, look, I'm going to start recording this. So we actually joined us in partway through a conversation with our special guest. He is probably the second best surfer ever to come out of Italy, and the second most well-known surfer to come out of Italy. I hope I don't butcher his name too much, but it's Roby D'amico. And this is Darren chatting with Robbie about all things Italy, some mad stories here. Darren's known Robbie for quite a while, back with the quick days and history there. Robbie is like really inspirational. He surfs real good. He does some challenges on SUPs that you hear about, and some stuff with Stab and the Red Bull No Contest stuff, which Darren goes into as well. But yeah, this is Daz with Roby D'amico on the Insiders. I hope you enjoy it, and we'll be back soon with another episode.
Come here. You will, you will, you will enjoy the surf. You will enjoy the country, but don't bet on surfing. It can really be bad. It changes in 1 hour, and all the scenarios is completely gone.
I was lucky enough, and you were lucky enough to participate in, but I watched it was Red Bull with Ashton Goggins
Yeah.
last year, and you had Leo, Stephanie, and you guys got good waves.
Actually, we were all in Portugal, and I knew that was gonna happen, that Red Bull thing, and I was staying in Portugal with Leo. So the guys were like, "Oh, I saw the swell," and I was like, "Guys, look, there's a south swell. What do you guys think? Do you want to do it now or not?" It was not like promising that well, and actually, we got very skunked. Like, it was surfable. Steph was amazing. She was smiling the whole time. Ashton was having just a good time. Harry, Steph boyfriend, he was just eating as much as you guys can imagine. So in the end, we did a couple days in Rome. We did a little bit of culture. We surfed my hometown, which was fun, like a little head high wave onshore. And then in the end, we decided to fly to Sardinia. We flew, but we knew that was going to be uh, surfable, but not any good. In the end, we surfed every day, and I was shocked about like how positive Steph was. She was just smiling the whole time, and she was just happy to be around. And it was a good discover for me, because I put on myself a lot of pressure when I make calls, and I want to make sure that everyone is going to be happy and is going to have a good time, and is going to score waves. But it's not always going to happen. And with them, it was really like a friend trip, and we visited a lot. We almost spent like a week together, I think. And in the end, the result was that Red Bull episode was one of the best, even without that good surfing. So
Yeah,
yeah, I was
because
stoked.
surfers, as you know, we love to travel, and when I'm assuming when you come into Italy, you're going to have less expectations than if you're going to the Mentawais. So when you get there, you've got all these extra things in place already: the culture, the food, the architecture, the people, the language, and the surfing kind of just actually becomes a bonus. So by anything you get can create,
Yeah,
that positive vibe.
exactly. And talking about mental wise, I had a 3 month in May, and it was my dream to go to the men's. And May, it's a really bad month for Italy, and it's starting to get good in Indo. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go there, and I want to score. And I went, and in the end, it's been one of the best May ever in Italy. Like, they served so much, and I got completely skunked in the mental wise. Like no one real good big swell in almost a month, and I was shocked. I can't miss waves at home. Like I was tripping. I was there and I wanted to be here. It's crazy.
It happens to all of us. And like when I went to the Mentawis, it was the same. And I remember I saw Leo in the showroom at Euroglass like 2 weeks before I went, and I was like, "Hey, how many boards did I take?" And you know what he was like when he was younger. He goes, "It depends on how hard you want to charge, man." And then I was like, "Oh yeah." And when it finally got to like a few days before we went, there was a pulse of swell for the first 3 days, and then it kind of went not flat, but I had 5 days at Lance's Rights where it was like 2 to 3 foot
I was there. I was
and
there.
onshore. Huh?
Yeah,
And then the
same.
last 2 days I kind of got waves. And like I talked myself into it one day because I was looking out and there was no one out, I guess, because it was Indo and it was onshore. You know, people don't surf. And I was thinking if that was Bourdain's, I'd be surfing, especially if there was no one out. So I went out there and I surfed and actually had an okay time. But in the back of your head, you've still got, I've just spent $3,000 to get here. I'm on the other
Yeah,
side of the world. I'm in paradise, and it's onshore, and it was good waves back here as well.
yeah. That sucks. That sucks. But I think it's different. Like surfing a bad wave in your beach breaks is completely different than surfing a good wave in a bad shape. I always love more to surf shit waves in shit spots. I don't like to surf good waves, bad waves in good spots.
Hey, so tell me a little bit more about where you're from, because I know obviously you always were Italian, and it's you said it's Ladispoli, no?
Ladispoli, yeah, it's a little city, a little bit north of Rome, and it's a small town of fishermen. That's how I grew up. And surfing when I started around 2000, 1999, something like that. And I was lucky enough to have a couple of friends that used to practice surfing, and I was windsurfing before that. So my father was also a fisherman and a guy who windsurfs, a guy who really loved to be in the sea, and he made me enjoy every bit of it. Not because of surfing, just because the sea for us was freedom. I was going fishing with him, I was going windsurfing with him, I was going sailing with him. Anything to do with the sea, it was good time for me. So I always had this good relationship with the sea. And in the end, I tried, I had a boogie board which I stood up on, and a couple of friends of mine already had surfboards with fins. So a friend of mine said, "You should try that." And I did on a really, really small day in summertime. And I was actually able to take off and like go on the side, like go right or go left, just because I had fins and I was used to go on a boogie board where it was just spinning the whole time. And that feeling was good. I was like, Dad, I think I like it. Like I think I really, really like it. I really, really like it. And at the time I was swimming a lot in the pool. And I was doing very well, and my dad really wanted me to keep on swimming. I was good at sport. But in the end, surfing really, really got me, but I didn't really have a chance to surf every day. So I was skimboarding one night until late at 7 p.m. And me and a friend of mine called Yuri, we saw a set of waves come that came from nowhere. And we were like, what's that? They were like white water, proper waves. I was like, wow, I don't know. Let's come back tomorrow and we check if that happened again. Tomorrow, same time at 7, we went again, and the same set of waves, 2 or 3 waves, would come in. And we were like, wow, okay, so it's here at 7. So let's try to surf it. So we did for the whole summer. We did surf this wave that we didn't even know where it came from, And in the end, we found out that a ferry boat was making a turn in Fiumicino, which is about 10 miles away, and turning into the port. This big boat was making a set of waves every single day.
At
So
the
that's
same time.
at the same time. Sometimes it was a little before, sometimes it was a
Yeah.
little after. And we found out just because on holidays the ferry wouldn't pass, and we would have been like sitting there waiting, and the set never came. We started in two, then Leo started surfing, and he also had a little bit of that ferry boat wave, and that's how he actually started also, because we were there every single day at 7 paddling towards this little break we had, because we didn't have waves in front of the house. We had to walk about a kilometer, so we used to paddle to get to train. And that was a fun story. It lasted a couple years, 2 or 3 years, and then they had to stop it because the people on the beach were complaining about this wave that would had all the umbrellas and stuff. So I haven't seen that wave for a long time now, but that's how we got into surfing, and I think it's very, very particular.
Is that near, or was that the bonsai?
Yeah, I live near Banzai. It is my house is 6 miles from Banzai. Yeah, and
Okay.
it is the main break of Italy, I would say.
So you did tell me with this swell coming, you're going to do a bit of driving. So I assume you're not going to try and wait for the boat there. You're going to go north, correct, and start scouring the Italian coastline, correct?
For the ferry boat, you
No,
mean?
no, for the swell that's coming from tomorrow.
For tomorrow we will be surfing home.
Okay.
We will be surfing around Banzai, and we won't move much because it's very, very windy, and it is going to be from southeast,
Yes.
which no one likes it here, but it's very good air wind. So I'm going to take Leo to like shit waves but with big ramps. So that's
Okay.
the plan. I told him to come with no expectation at all. It's going to be pretty bad, but we will stay home with a little chance of going in a wave that I know, but it's very, 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 very difficult. We'll get it, and I don't want to talk about it because it's bad luck.
Yeah. So then next week, with the other storms coming through, would you stay where you are, or would you drive up the coast, up towards Marina Petrosanta North, or anything like that?
I'll make the call at the same day. I
Okay.
make calls here 24 hours before, 12 hours before, but looking to next week, it doesn't make sense here. Like, you only know that something is going to happen that can disappear, but I don't even want to believe, because our sea, it's small, and everything that moves in a way faster way that moves on the ocean. And it's good to think that you will get something. It helps your mind to stay calm, but in the end, it's always good to stay a little bit negative to enjoy the positive if it comes.
I've had Leon Glatzer from Costa Rica, who's
Yeah, we're
in the
very good
German
friends.
team with Red Bull, staying at the house. Red Bull is supposed to be flying in, I think, like tomorrow, to film a documentary on him over the next week. And I sent a message on Monday saying maybe just don't come, because, I mean, it looks like they'll be able to surf Hyundai and a couple of spots like that. But he was like, what about like Hossegor Central? And I was like, no, and it's like 100 knots onshore. And a week ago, it looked like it was going to be a weekend of 1.7 at 12 seconds and stiff offshore. And 2 days later, it completely switched.
Yeah,
So
I
we're all
saw.
kind of victims of this Atlantic Ocean, which is incredibly capricious, as I would say.
They got option. They should go Africa. I will go Africa.
Yeah, I looked at it myself.
There is many option there, so
So
it's pretty close.
from Rome, like, how easy is it to get a flight to Sardinia?
It's very easy. Rome. I think where I live, it's one of the best places strategically to move around Europe because Rome has a huge airport, and with the age I'm having, also it's not like I'm always profiting on anything, but I want to be in places when I have to be. And in the end, I found out it's very, very easy to go anywhere from Rome in a cheap price. So it's way easier than Hossegor, way easier than where you guys live to get moving from here.
Oh yeah, we got to scour between Bilbao, Bordeaux,
Yeah, that's
Toulouse,
horrible. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
try and get
It's
to
horrible.
Paris, drive to Madrid, it's 5 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's like a 1 hour flight over to Sardinia.
It's 40 minutes. 40
Okay.
minutes.
I,
The
I
last time, last year, this year, sorry, I finally had the the session of my life in Sardinia, and I booked the flight the same morning. Like I flew there the morning, and I surfed the afternoon until the night before. The forecast were looking so and so, and I kept the alarm, and I was like, okay, I will check in the morning, and then on the forecast you could see that the wind were gonna be alright, and I flew in the morning and I scored the afternoon.
and
So yeah, pretty
and
easy.
you took your boards with you.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Now, I mean, we had Alitalia, which was our company that was really easy and free boards. Now we have ITA, which is this new company, and it's pretty expensive, and they break balls for boards. Like they're always complaining, and we have to spend a lot of money. But it's just the beginning of a new company, so I hope that will change something. But otherwise, I like always to go by ferry boat. I will put my car on a boat, and I will enjoy the ride during the night. And 6 in the morning, I'm there.
And then you
So
don't have to worry about hiring a car or anything else.
exactly. That's what I do most of the times. I have to drive a couple hours because it arrives in the north of Sardinia, which is in Olbia, and then it's a couple hours drive to get to the west coast, which is usually the best.
I surfed on the northwest coast of Corsica as well.
Ah, I've never been there. Okay.
Yeah, as well a couple of years ago, and then we drove around the island, and I could see Sardinia underneath.
Ah,
Uh,
yeah, that's
I
pretty
was
close.
I was saying to my wife, I was going, we got to go over there for the next holiday because I knew
It's
that
crazy. It's crazy. They are like neighboring islands, but you won't see any Sardinian in Corsica, and you won't see Corsican in Sardinia.
no,
Like,
and I
I,
think Sardinia gets more swell than Corsica.
yeah, they have more space, definitely,
It's
definitely.
big.
But I saw a couple waves in Corsica. They have good waves.
Yeah, I've seen a couple too. I know a guy there, a shaper. He used to work with us a little bit. Huh?
Uh,
Jean Valère.
uh, I don't have contacts there, but one time I would love to go and see.
So another reason why I wanted to call you for the podcast as well, and now I can't remember where I saw it, but I did read that you started up doing like a stand-up paddle through, is it the Rhone River?
Tevere, yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I started many many years ago doing just cleanups with my friends around 2010, and we were looking like weirdos doing that with plastic bags and carrying trash on the beach. But we just started like for fun and just because we thought that was a good move. And in the end, I did an association which is called Roby Cleanup, which I make call to action. Like I would say, like I'm going to clean tomorrow. If anyone wants to come, just join me. I will be there. And it became very big. Now, when we make the call to action, we are like 100, 150. So we move a lot of trash for real. And it's always it's also becoming a little bit of a job for me. Like I I did good in surfing for the opportunity I had, and I always moved very well in the image talking. So I was able to live about surfing, and I don't feel I'm one of the tops, but I always liked manage and to find a way to live with it, and I did.
To have a career.
Yeah, to have a career in a little bit of a different way, because I was never good at competing. I always got really, really bad result, just a couple results. But it was not my goal. My goal was to score good waves, and in the end, I found a way and I was happy. And now I found this other way, which is protecting the sea. And if protecting the sea can be my job, I would be more than happy. I can still surfing and I can do something I really love. And I was writing a project. I needed to do something different. And talking with my friend Marco Spinelli, who enjoyed the trip with me, and all my local friend fishermen, they were like, Robbie, if you want to do something with a great impact, you should go to the rivers. All the the the, the trash that arrives in the sea starts from the city, doesn't come from the beach. So we started to study and to make a project about this river, and we decided to do the River Tevere, which is the most one of the most important of Italy, which is 405 kilometers long. And we started from the top, arriving to the bottom, and we lived it in many different ways. We were by SAP in a couple, like you can do it all by SAP because you have so much like different way of currents and rocks in between. It's not really paddable all the way, but you can do a good way of it. And we did a lot of driving. We did a little bit of bicycle. We really lived the river, starting from drinking that water, ending throwing up, trying just to smell it inside Rome. So we involved all the people, like we do with the sea. We involved all the people that lived the river for real. But and the result was amazing because we are talking about something very boring, which is um, which is this scientific way of explaining on how bad our weather is and why there is a global warming. And but in the end it's all words that we don't really get because it's too hard. Is explained in a way hard way. So what I like to do is to listen like to old men's. I like to listen to people that touches that plays every single day that really feel the difference and can explain it in an easier way that all can understand. So that's what we did. And the goal of the project was to present it in the high school. And we did it with 2,000 students this year. We did 2 tours of 10 days, showing them the documentary and getting them involved in our cleanups, which is like making the hands dirty. It makes you understand more of how bad our situation is. And we had a very, very good response. And I can't say now, but it's going to be online on a good platform very, very soon.
So basically, after with you said it was Marco, did he film it, and then you interviewed different people?
No, we were me and Marco Spinelli. We were the main actors,
Okay,
and we had a troupe of 14 people behind us.
okay. And you were saying to make this like part of a career. How were you able to generate money to create this project? Was it from sponsors or was it from the local government?
No, we have an agency behind which is called Face, and we made the whole project with them, and they start to sell the project to sponsors. And we had 3 sponsors that says yes, which the main sponsor was Flowy, which is a bank. Second sponsor was Breitling, which is my main sponsor also from watches. And the third sponsor was Cotopaxi. And with those 3, we were able to cover the whole project, which was very expensive.
Mm. And the agency, they're like a creative project agency, is that it?
That was their real like first project they work on. Like I have an agency just behind my image, so I make them talk about money with sponsor. I want to keep on how would you say, I want to keep my relationship with the sponsor, but I don't want to talk about money, so they just do the financial part. And but in the end they are very creative, so we are now writing down another project for next year, because in the end right now you see like how fast everything goes by and how small project lasts very little. And I told myself, I don't want to work so hard for something that lasts nothing, and maybe something made in a very bad way, in a shit way, will win my project. So I was like, I want to work on something bigger that lasts longer and makes me work maybe a full year on, instead of doing those stupid Instagram reels and this stupid image that we're now used to do, that we have to do because it's job, but I don't really like that
And
way of communication.
people soon forget them as well.
Yeah, exactly,
Things so
exactly.
small, it's easily forgotten. So
Yeah.
you plan on does that mean you plan on following on the same sort of protecting the rivers project, or is it a different?
No, for the moment, no. I want to do something by bike. I bought a bike, and I wanted to live uh, just a journey, just a trip in a different way. So now I'm trying to plan this trip and to have a couple stops. And we are writing down. We have already had a couple calls, and the project is looking good for the moment. It's gonna be May next year, and but we're still writing down ideas and how to do it. But I will do it.
But this will be a solo project, or you'll do this again with Marco or someone else?
For the moment, it's a solo project, but I will get involved in the different stops, different people.
Okay, so like you plan out like a map, and then each place
Yeah,
you use
exactly,
like
exactly,
a local personality
exactly,
that you meet up
exactly.
with.
You got it. Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
And I'm looking there in your apartment behind you. So this is your place that you own?
No, I'm now in my girlfriend's house.
Okay.
In my girlfriend's house, and I'm a little bit south. I'm in Gaeta now, which is 2 hours from my home. I will drive back right after this call.
Okay. Have you got your own place there in Rome?
Yeah, I do. I do. I do. I was able to buy my house, and it was a big moment. I'm happy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I made my base where I wanted my base to be.
And so that means, for example, if you're driving south there, where your girlfriend is, are there waves there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I come to surf here. It's a very soft place for surfing. Like they have, it's an amazing place just for the scenery they have, the mountains, the green. There is a lot of nature and stuff. But the fact they have is that the water here never gets very deep until you go very very far out. So waves doesn't have power here. There is no depth, but it's
Okay.
fun. It's fun. Like cool look like it remembers me like Zaraut's high tide, something like that.
One maneuver, wave finished.
Yeah, one maneuver, or maybe you just get to pump and then, but it never. Sometimes it gets fun. Sometimes it gets fun, but it's just that spectacular and that nice that it's just amazing to be in the water also here, and the food is amazing.
And what about? I always wondered, because I was looking at going there with the family a few years ago, and one of my favorite books was The Godfather. Are
Okay,
there waves, and have you surfed in Sicily?
I did surf in Sicily. Yeah, many times, many times. You won't see much of Sicily because they really want to keep it for them, which I understand. So I go there, I surf, but I don't film.
I had four, no, two guys and their girlfriends come and stay in one of the houses here from Sicily 2 summers ago. Huh? and they were the same. I said, "What are the waves like?" They said, they're okay, but we don't talk about them."
Yeah. No, but it's so Sicily instead of Sardinia is way harder to score because they are very exposed to winds, and the swells mostly comes from the same direction and the wind also. So I got skunked many times in Sicily, but I also scored.
So, Rob, I think I first met you. It was the old factory of Euroglass, 2 factories ago now, and that would have been in 2007. And obviously, I met you with your dad. You guys
Yeah,
came in the big camper van. Remember?
yeah,
Big the
yeah. I
big
do.
the big RV.
Of
So
course, I remember.
so at that time, you guys were like traveling. You were traveling to France for competitions and meetings with Quicksilver, correct?
Actually, it started earlier. It started in 2003 when I had a friend of mine who is called Marco Gregori, who told me one day that I had to do this contest in Italy for grommet. Was it like under 12 or something like that? And I won it. And so I got qualified for the Quicksilver Grom Trophy in Cabreton,
Yeah.
2003. And I had no idea of what was gonna wait for me there. I never saw the ocean before, and I was really like coming from another world, right? And my dad, he drove me there, and we arrived. I was about 5 feet tall, but I had a 6'4". That was my only board I had, and that contest and Quicksilver was really the window that made me see over my nose. I don't even know what surfing was and what the level would be in surfing because I never saw any other kids instead of me surfing. And there was John was there, and Joan Duru was already there, Mark, Maxime, and many guys that now are at the top. They were already reaping at the time. And so that was my first time in the ocean, and but mostly the first time that I saw surfing for real, and I was like, okay, I think I need to get better.
So how did you go from that to signing up with Quicksilver at the time?
The same year, Quicksilver, they were interested in me. They gave me my first ever board, a Mark Phillip, that I still have on the rooftop of my house, which
You still
which
got it?
I still got it for sure. It lasts for maybe 4 years, 4 or 5 years, because it was too big for me at the time. It was a 5.5, and so it was good for a couple of years until I grew, and I had to change it. But it's still there, and it's impact. Like it's good, still good, and it's signed from Jeff Ackman and Mark Phillips when they came to Italy. So I had it signed in my bedroom. It's amazing. And since that, after that summer, I told my dad that I wanted to stop swimming, and he finally bought me a wetsuit to start surfing in winter. So I started surfing in winter, and next year my first little contract arrived, which for a kid getting paid for surfing, not that much, but it was something. And my dad was like, okay, this kid, then he might have possibility. And it was my dad. It was an old dad. I mean, my brother is 17 years older than me, and my sister is 15. I came very late. So when I came at the time, he was stopping his job. And so we kind of lived since day one to until he can really much. He was my best friend, the guy who I used to go anywhere with. He would enjoy me and my friends anywhere, and if I had to choose to travel with a friend or with my dad, it would be in the camping car with my dad, and I would love to live a little bit of it again.
I remember, and he was also he was very loyal to you. He would come to me and he would say, Darren, he's just from Italy. He doesn't have the opportunities of these other
Yeah,
kids.
yeah,
What can we do? And I said,
yeah.
we'll try and do what we can. Because at the
Yeah,
time it was hard for us too. You would remember, like, we were just a small factory and we already sponsored Jeremy. So we would just do our best to like invoice as many boards as we could always to Quicksilver and get
yeah, 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 yeah,
Quicksilver
yeah.
to pay them all. So from there you stayed with like Quicksilver all the way through to when they had, remember the Quicksilver house near the lake, and
Of
I remember
course
you
I
stayed
do.
a couple of summers there where
Of
we
course. The help I had back then, it's uncomparable to what the help they get the
they
kids
got
now.
they don't even come close now.
No way. Like, it's cool because what we had, it was we would really help each other as kids. Kids being alone in a surf house, sometimes like the Quicksilver house would be full. So we would go to the Volcom house and try to hide and sleep and stay there the most time possible because we wanted to be in the ocean. That's it. And if you will ever had a Quicksilver room for you, then you will maybe invite someone if he didn't have a place. And it was always like giving and getting back in a very poor way that I don't see that much anymore. I see more everyone against each other now, and they want a piece of that cake that is very far on the top. But I I would love to see the kids enjoying more the journey and the kids' life instead of seeing of only of the future and the Olympic and the tour, which is fine. I understand, but surfing it's also having fun and having a good time, and we really had.
And as you see now with your life, the actual surfing and the competition part, it's all very quick, but your life can be so much fuller and so much longer
Yeah,
than
yeah.
just that small period.
It's very short, and you win or you will get forgotten. It's I see Leo like someone like him with his character, with what he wants, with how he approaches surfing, but he still enjoy life. I respect. Like, he's made for it. But if you're not made for it, like, I made a big decision in 2000 when I finished with Quicksilver, when actually everything started to be different. Like, Quicksilver had to make a smaller team, and all I did was contest and competing, and everything was said. We had Thomas Porte who would bring us anywhere with his van, and it was a great time, great time until you would pass to the QS, which Quicksilver didn't really have that movement that would take kids to go there. So you had to make your own expenses and invest into a contest, which the prizes money will never be covering just the expensive you will invest. And it's going to be stressing, and it's going to be another kind of process if you don't have the shoulder covered with very big products, contracts. So when I finished with Quicksilver, I had a chat with Belly. I will never forget. I was still in the team and I had my contract until December. But in September, I met Riff in Hossegor, and the guys were looking for someone from Italy that didn't care about competition and that wanted to surf and marry that philosophy of just passing through. And they offered me to go on a tour with Riff in October. And I remember me calling Belly, going like, "Hey, Belly, I know this is going to end. So, do you see the possibility of me of going with Riff before the contract ends?" And I was super scared to ask him this question. I was like, "Am I gonna miss an opportunity?" But I knew that Quicksilver was gonna end, and he was the nicest. He was like, "Roby, just go." And since then, I approached surfing when I was 18. I was 18 at the time, in a way different way. I had my car, and I was starting traveling and see surfing only not to be liked by a judge, but to really enjoy myself. I was crying a lot, vomiting before the heats, not controlling the stress I had, and was not fun anymore. And that was a really new chapter, a new way of working in surfing, which worked very well and can last longer because I'm still doing it, and
And
it's good.
that's what I was going to ask you. Are you still with Reef?
I'm still with Riff. I'm still
How's
with
that?
Riff.
That was unreal. I remember when you switched over, and I thought it was perfect timing and a good move because
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you were unique. At the time, like Leo was still a little kid. Italy didn't have many like internationally recognized surfers,
yeah.
and you were able to use. I don't even know if you call it free surfing. It's more of like surf ambassador, isn't it?
Exactly, surf ambassador, like local ambassador, pretty much. Like they wanted to have someone in a country that would the would represent it. 2 years ago, Reef got sold, and we had to stop the contract for 2 years
Yep.
because I was not getting managed by the guys I was used to get managed. But we kept in touch. I never said goodbye, and we knew that we were gonna work together again, but just not at those conditions because my manager was not the same that I'm having now and that I had before. So we had 2 years stopover in those 12 years of relationship, and now we just signed this year again, and it's gonna be a long-term job. So at the same condition. I have to surf, I have to make projects, I have to score waves and have good vibes
And be visible.
and be visible. Exactly.
Yeah,
And in
it, it's incredible because I just think like when I left Euroglass and I started with the surf camps, pure surf camps, and we've got the house across the road from Bel Air to Stanio. And it
okay,
was one of the first weeks, and I had like there was 7 girls and one guy this week. And I got there late. It was in the evening, sometime near dinner, and I got there, and apparently they were playing beer pong on the front terrace, and they broke the ping pong ball. And Belly was there, and he'd come over, and he was there talking to them, and he said, "I've got a couple of ping pong balls at home. I'll go and get it for you." So he goes over to get the ping pong ball from the house, and I said to these girls, I said, "Oh, that's my old boss and stuff. He's like Kelly Slater's old manager."
yeah,
And they said to me, like, "Who's Kelly Slater?" And
yeah,
I was like, and that's when I
of course,
realized that
yeah,
like people don't know these people,
yeah,
but they knew what surfing was, what the beach was, and at the end of that week, their hero was the surf instructor. They still didn't know what Kelly Slater was. So for you
yeah,
in Italy, because you're there and you've got contact, like a young Italian surfer that meets you, you will be the hero because he's had interaction with you and he can understand you, as opposed to John or someone on the other side of the world that they'll never see.
yeah. I get it. It's all also it's kind of a political way now of how people approach a sport, and which I really don't uh, appreciate, like the way they want everything in a very short period, which is not surfing. Surfing has its steps, and it's about generation, it's about knowing who comes before the new. And I see a lot of mistakes, a lot of people that I don't want to say that shouldn't be in the water, but like karate or jujitsu or any other sport has their level and has their color, right? Nowadays, like all you want to do is appear instead of enjoy, and this is creating a lot of problem in our ecosystem of surfing. You will never see a guy that comes there and sit last in the line and wait his turn.
Never.
Never.
Oh,
which
sometimes,
which if I
sometimes.
would do sometimes, only if you all think the same way, it can happen. if I thought about something like that when I was a kid to someone older than me, well, first of all, I would not even try because it was not in my head. But I was getting pulled out. I was getting screened. I was I would put my head down, I would say sorry, and would learn the lesson. If you do something like that now, you will get problems because your image gets broken. You are not anymore a cool guy, which is just trying to teach what surfing is, and this is crazy to me. This is crazy. I'm having a lot of issue with that problem because now I have a little age. I'm not a kid anymore, and I still have the older guys in front of me, which respect and which they respect me. But now it's hard to make the same thing with the younger generation. They are very, very arrogant in the water.
Very
It is
hungry.
crazy. Very angry. Very, yeah. No, we were all angry, but with respect.
I remember it wasn't even before 10 years of living here where I would
Yeah,
ever at a peak with locals really, and I won't say hustle, but put yourself in position for the set waves. My
yeah,
first 10 years that I lived here, I used to try and surf alone as much as I could, because then you didn't have any problems.
yeah.
You learn more about the ocean as well. You don't have to get to any sort of competitive situation and learn the language and everything else and understand the ocean. Like you said, at the moment, it's. I mean, I'm trying to work out how they're going to do it compared to skiing. The skiing has got such a bigger like surface area, even though it does get crowded in the mountains. Because us here last weekend, like I've never seen it so crowded. And
Yeah, I know.
the problem as well is there's only so many waves that are going to come in that day. How do you how do you share them out?
Imagine here in Italy, when you can surf a couple times a month. It
I
is.
remembered all the Italian clients when I first, and they were saying to me ultralight, and I was saying to them, you can't get ultralight, it'll just get smashed up. And they'd say to me, we don't care, we don't surf it enough for it to get smashed up. We want
That's
ultralight.
that's true. That's true.
And when I got there, I realized, like, if you're only surfing your board 4 times a month, obviously you do want it ultra light.
Last long. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It lasts long. That's true.
It's not going to get broken like it's going to get broken here.
Exactly. That's for sure. That's
So,
for sure.
so what are your plans for this winter? You stay in Italy and surf there? Have you got any international trips planned?
Yeah, I'm waiting the releasing of this documentary in November for Io Tevere. And then after that, I want to do a little trip somewhere. But I like to spend winter here. Like now it's starting the good time, so I want to sure I'm gonna be around if there is any windows of good ways. I had already points on the map, the places I want to try, and I want to keep on my on the hunt project, which is what I see for my future. I'm starting this kind of a surf trip uh, company, but for very very small amount of people in a very professional way of filming and coaching in places where we could go, and I want to make it grow. I see these well in my future, and so what I'm gonna do since now on is to keep working on that and make it ready for next year and start doing my first trips around and sharing experiences with people.
And what about the snow? Do you ski?
Not much, not much. I go with friends maybe once a year, twice a year. I like it, but I never got really, really into it.
Yeah, that's the same with me because we spent every every second year we would go to Australia, which would use
Yeah.
all our holidays and all our money, and then in the other years we would like to try and go somewhere else, like warm.
Yeah.
I still
Yeah.
go up. I still go up once or twice a winter. I mean, I'm going to try and go again a couple of times this winter. I go with the last couple of winters. I've gone with Bradley because he's actually a really good skier, and it's more of a fun day as opposed to like like a full active experience.
Yeah. The big old Christian. Ah, good, Christian. Now, imagine from here, you could actually surf and go to the snow in the same day. It's so close. It's 1 hour behind Rome, and you already have mountains with snow.
Okay, and
So
good snow.
you could good snow. I don't know. Sometimes my friend
Good,
says
good enough.
good
Hey,
enough.
we've got a thing on the Insiders where we have a section called the do's and a don'ts. So I'll give you an example. I mean, we're just about to come into 2 weeks no surf here because of the conditions. So my do is I'm going to start up my Bikram yoga again. I
Okay.
haven't been for a few months. Hot yoga. So that's what I'm gonna. That's my do, and my don't is I'm gonna let me think. I'm not gonna get depressed about the fact that we can't surf, which is super easy, huh? Like
Yeah, yeah,
you get all wrapped up in your own world and you think, oh, I can't surf. There's nothing more important.
yeah,
Where,
yeah.
as we know at the moment, where there's been a couple of European wars and people are in way worse situations than us.
Ah,
So
of
I try
course.
and relativize the fact that I'm not surfing. So, what could you think of would be Roby D'amico do and
To
don't?
me,
Yes.
I will talk to myself, right? Okay. To the don'ts in this particular moment would be don't say no. I mean, there is many times we see opportunities and we are there thinking, having so many thought, and thought too many times takes you to the no answer. I want to have a yes answer, even if it's gonna be not what I expect, but I want to be moving. So on my don'ts is don't say no to opportunities, and on my do's, I had a lot of work those last few months. Really, since this summer, I never really stopped, and and I I got a little bit out of surfing just because I was working a lot in events and stuff. And on my do's, I wanna keep myself very active. I'm doing every single day a different activity, which doesn't have to be a gym, but it has to be to live nature, running, biking, paddling on a SUP, swimming in the sea, whatever it takes me out, I want to do it.
That's pretty noble. Which is what I'm going to follow that myself because that's what I actually have been trying to do in like the last week because we had a really good run of waves
Yeah, I saw
and
it.
and yeah, sorry to tell you that. And then, like the other day, I think it was the Sunday I surfed like 5 hours, two and a half hour surfs, which is all right. Like I'm 50, and it only took 2 days to go. I need more. I need more.
Yeah. The
But
more you have, the more you want, always.
yeah. But as long as you, like you said, you get on your bike or you go for a run or you do some yoga or you do some sort of activity, you can always kind of keep that negativity from creeping into your mind, can't you?
Yeah, definitely. In the end, we only think that surfing and a certain emotion can let you stay calm. But in the end, yesterday I did 40 kilometer on my bike, and I was sleeping like a children last night. It was a good sleep. In the end, if you don't do anything, then your head get crazy. But if you get tired, you will fall asleep.
Yeah,
And
I get the same thing.
when you have a lot of work, we have life. It's normal. You have to take care of life. But in the end, we can always create. A small window is better than no window. So if you can do something, do it always.
So when you're doing your 40K bike, have you got AirPods in?
Nah, no AirPods.
Natural.
Natural.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, I never listen to music in sports. Only when I run, because I hate it. I hate to run. It's the worst.
I don't run. It's not good for you. You'll see at my age. It's not good for your hips or your knees or your ankles, and the benefit you get's not actually better than the detriment you get.
You can run on. If I do run, I run on soft. I don't run on the streets because it hurt my back if I do run on the streets. But if I run like on a little sandy place or grass and stuff, I can run. Not for long distance though. I'm a very bad runner, but I wanted to lose a little bit of weight. Eating a lot and stuff is never good, and I want to keep in shape. Oh, every day, bro.
Thanks again for coming, man. And I'm going to try and stay in contact with you. I want to try and come there for a swell this winter.
Yeah, do it. Come visit. Come visit, and it was a real pleasure for me. Like it didn't feel like a podcast. I felt like we needed to have a chat. So I really enjoyed, and it was good to put my English back on board. So sick. It makes me want to travel. It makes me want to go surf now.
If you can, send me a little link as well to the stand up paddle documentary when you get
it's still not on.
Yeah, when it comes, and I'll see if I can watch it with you.
Yeah. For anything you need images and stuff, just go check the Instagram stuff and get from there.
Okay, easy. Thanks, mate, and grazie mille to you, girl.
No worries.
For letting the thing. Ciao, ciao.
See you, buddy. Ciao, ciao.